Hola, hi. Oops. I've just come back from Lagos. I've been to the Mercado de Santo Amaro. I love going there. It's a market, with fresh produce. There's not so many people like me, I mean foreigners. And there's a lovely stall with a woman called Liliana, and she speaks only in Portuguese with me, and she has also the patience. And it kind of brings me to the subject of going beyond doing things right or doing things wrong, because it gets us completely stuck. Actually, learning a language is a good example for that, I think, because I'm also going to a conversation class, a Portuguese conversation class, and I'm reading with a friend of mine, O Alquimista, from Paulo Coelho, and it's not easy. I used to read it in my own language, The Alchemist. And I think it's so easy to get hung up on this, I need to speak properly, it needs to be properly. And the funny thing is, when I speak now at that Mercado, for example, versus in the conversation class, I'm much more apprehensive to get it right, whereas at the Mercado it's just interaction, it's with a lovely person, I'm just speaking, it's much more fun and I feel more in the flow. And I think it's so ingrained in us, and it keeps us, especially when it comes to creativity, but honestly anything in life, it keeps us in this obviously very safe space. And we often don't question that doing it right or doing it wrong, what that actually means. What is it? What is the right way to get in a language everything completely perfectly right, but then never speak out of fear you might get it wrong and don't have any interaction with the locals? I don't know. There's another thing I had to think of, so I hope I haven't told that yet, but I think it's a good example. When I lived in Hamburg, I used to invite the director of my 2 shows I was creating to Hamburg for giving workshops, so we could combine those 2 things. We would be rehearsing on my show, but he would be giving a workshop. And the whole approach, Lecoq, was really about trusting yourself and exploration. And I remember, so there was one actress that was actually quite successful. Yes, she was performing every night in a big theater in Hamburg, Schmidt's Tivoli, and it was a comedy show, and so she was established. And then there was another actress that was a friend of mine who, due to circumstances, hadn't acted for a while because she had a child to look after that also was autistic, so her life wasn't easy. And those 2 happened to do an improvisation together. And so the setup was that one discovers a letter by the other, and it's about betrayal. But anything else, was open to exploration. And it was so interesting to me because those 2 were playing together, Jessica, my friend, and the other woman who was performing every night. And she was so busy with trying to figure out what was expected of her, and she was missing the instructions. She kept on asking, what am I supposed to do? She just wasn't comfortable with the whole idea of the exploration, I guess, and going beyond doing it right or wrong. And to cut a long story short, my friend Jessica played her into the ground. She just went for it, and she wasn't afraid of really diving into those emotions because it was about passion, right? And I was shocked to see this afterwards because I wouldn't have expected this. I would have thought that the one that was performing every night and that was established would have a much easier go at it. And it showed me how much it is really about how you've been taught a certain approach and what you think about creativity. And to be honest, personally, I think it's a total crime that often in institutions that teach creativity, may it be acting or anything else, they have this belief that people have to be broken down to be built back up again. And I remember with the acting schools, if you were over the age of 25, the public ones, yes, you wouldn't be taken anymore. That was also one of the reasons, because when I was deciding to do it, I was 30 years old already. So, but I think for me it wouldn't have been good. So it was really about, molding someone into something which is obviously not such a great idea from my point of view, because then you kind of, again, you're trying to do it in a way how you are supposed to do it. And I think you're missing out on so many opportunities when it comes to creativity. That's my take on it. And I think it's as I said before, it's a crime if you teach people creativity like you teach them, I don't know, any other thing. Or maybe you shouldn't teach people anyways in whatever subject it is, this way of that they get this fear instilled to mess up or to do things wrong. And I think the treasure lies in when you go beyond and really trust your own instinct, go beyond doing it right or wrong. So that's it for today. Would love to hear your take on it. This is Anja, creative rebel and free spirit. May you come alive by creating freely. Bye bye.